I started nursing classes 2 years ago. I was wide-eyed, full of hope, excited to help people and hoped that I could make a change in this world. I soon found out the challenges that lied ahead, the fears I would have to overcome. I had to find this identity with becoming a nurse. So it starts with a hello. When a nurse introduces his or herself every morning to a patient, it's not for a 15-minute assessment or to breeze through a consult, but rather it's the start of 12 hours worth of healing where the nurse and the patient will interact very closely to ensure all the needs of the patient are met. You see, nurses are ranked at the highest in terms of ethical standards and honesty. We receive top marks consistently every year. Compared to other professions, we are the highest. We are 10 points higher than second place pharmacists, 15 points higher than medical doctors, and a whopping 75 points higher than members of Congress. Yet, there's this culture of disrespect directed at our profession. The media portrays us as airheads or bimbos, as the naughty nurse. I personally don't feel like I identify with the naughty nurse caricature, and I hope you guys don't see me that way as well right now. It is this quality of being a nurse that is very not understood by even my friends and family when I started nursing classes. They would ask me, why become a nurse? Why not become a doctor instead? And that using the arguments that I was settling or selling myself short. For my part, I didn't know how to respond in a way that satisfied them. The qualities of being a nurse, empathy, integrity, compassion, and healing through communication, these are qualities, but how do you measure them? How do you quantify them? I had a patient once who was about to be discharged after severe alcohol withdrawals had left him hospitalized. While I was talking through his discharge instructions and his follow-up appointments, we began talking about his support systems at home. Through this communication, I saw him really begin to find a sense of clarity that he had support systems at home he could rely on. His friends, his family, his loved ones that he could lean on and not turn to alcohol or any other vices in his life. And it is this work that nurses do on a day-to-day basis that's rarely seen. The ability to conduct in-depth assessments past the medical diagnosis, past what the disease process is, but what the patient needs for their healing. You know, I no longer qualify why I wanted to become a nurse, but when individuals ask me, why do I want to become a nurse, I simply respond now, because I want to be. But this sense of clarity did not come easily. When I first entered the hospital, I had this overwhelming fear of hurting a patient. I would never put myself in a situation where I did not feel comfortable doing something, but there was still this fear that all my work was so intimate to what a patient needed that I could cause harm instead of healing. It is a fear I didn't speak about openly, but I had a lingering sense that my classmates too felt this. I'd spoken to many of my mentors, and they felt this as well when they were starting out in their nursing practice. It is something that's not openly talked about, but I think we found the tool to combat this. Through rigorous education and research, nurses are able to combat the challenges of healthcare head on. We are able to meet your every needs because we spend every day continuing our education and researching the evidence base for the care that we provide. As the Affordable Care Act is set to ensure 32 million new Americans, there is going to be the shortage of primary care providers. One solution would be to allow advanced practice and nurse specialists to fill this gap. By allowing nurse practitioners to fill this gap, we will ensure that every American is afforded the health insurance that they deserve and begin to cut the burden of healthcare on our economy. Healthcare will also begin to move away from this medical model, this paternalistic, the physician knows best model, to a more patient-centered model, where not only the nurse, the physician, but also respiratory therapists, case managers, social workers, we all work together in this multidisciplinary team that serves you, the patient, the consumer, at the center of it all. I spoke about finding my identity as a nurse, of the fears of hurting patients, of this new model of healthcare that we'll see over the next few years. And really, I saw this all come together in a moment of clarity when I was on my pediatric rotation. A 9-year-old had come in with a respiratory infection and soon began to lose the ability to breathe. As the doctors and nurses rushed to her bedside to put her on a breathing machine, her heart stopped. I watched, though, as nobody panicked. The respiratory therapists, physician, nurses, they all worked together in this team so seamlessly that it did not matter their titles nor who was doing what, but rather that each person knew what they were doing, that each person worked together so seamlessly that over hours of life-saving procedures, this child's life was saved. The case managers, the social workers, they sat with the parents throughout this entire process, and I saw this team work together so fluidly, yet no one was in charge and no one was in command but the patient at the center of it all. In a few weeks, I'll graduate as a nurse, and over the summer, I'll take my boards to become a nurse, registered nurse. And I hope to take this away, that with my education and my commitment to research, as will every individual in healthcare, we hope to serve you, the patient, in the future, empower you to take your health and make the decisions you want and you feel most comfortable in making for your health needs. Thank you.